Hey, Magic fans, we're back again. That's right, Commander came out today as well, so we got another quick Commander video for you. Let's go over all the Commander leaks for new Capenna. So, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell, comments down below feeds YouTube algorithm. Let's get going. Check out the description for links to the eBay store, Patreon page, and my email. Let's check out the Commander stuff. Tray tables and seat backs to flow upright position. This is your captain speaking. So here we go for Commander. First off, we have Vazi, Keen Negotiator. These pictures are awful, so I'm sorry. Green, red, black, and 2 for a 3/3 legendary creature, human advisor with haste. Tap, target opponent creates X treasure tokens, where X is the number of treasure tokens you created this turn. Target opponent, okay. When an opponent casts a spell or activates an ability, if mana from a treasure was spent to cast it, or activate it, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature, then draw a card. That is very interesting. So you give your opponent extra mana to let yourself draw a card and put counters on your creatures. I'm not going to speak a whole lot to these commander cards because obviously they're only legal in Commander and older formats. And if I see something that might call out to an older format, I'll let you know. You know, like Legacy. So, pretty sweet card. Like the picture. It's pretty sexy. We have Mari, the Killing Quill, 2 black and 1 for a 3/2. Whenever a creature an opponent control dies, you exile with a hit counter. Assassins, mercenaries, and rogues you control have death touch, and whenever they deal combat damage to a player, you may remove a hit counter from a card that player owns and exile. If you do, draw a card, create 2 treasure tokens. This is an amazing card. This is going to be 10, 20 bucks easy. Jesus. This thing's amazing. All right, next we have Spiteful Repossession. So red and 4 deals damage to each opponent who controls more lands than you, equal to the difference. Then create a number of treasure tokens equal to the damage dealt this way. Very interesting. You can do 2 damage to 3 different players, get 6 treasures. Yeah, I think I like it. Pretty decent rare. Next, we have the Boxing Ring. So for a green and 1, you have an artifact. Whenever a creature enters the battlefield under your control, it fights up to 1 target creature you don't control with the same mana value. Tap it, create a treasure token. Activate only if you control a creature that fought this turn. This thing is bonkers. Not only can you fight your creatures with other creatures for free, you can create treasure tokens when you fight. Like, wow, this is going to be... This commander set seems pretty bomb. Next, we have Protection Racket. So for black and 2, we have another enchantment rare. At the beginning of your upkeep, repeat the following process for each opponent in turn order. Reveal the top card of your library. That player pays life equal to that card's mana value. If they do, exile that card. Otherwise, put it into their hand. Oh, put it into your hand. Oh, wow. At the beginning of your upkeep, you repeat the following. So you reveal the top card of your library. That player may pay life equal to the card's mana value. If they do, you exile the card. Otherwise, you put it in your hand. Okay, so you can draw. It's basically a Howl of Mind for yourself that other players can pay life to stop. Very interesting. I like it. Next, we have Mizo Mugger. Red and 4 for a 3/3 Machino Rogue. When he attacks, exile top card of each player's library. You may play those cards this turn, and you may spend mana of any color as to cast those spells. And it has Blitz. For those of you who don't remember, Blitz is where for the Blitz cost you can play it. It sacrifices at the end of the turn, and when it dies, you get to draw a card. This thing seems bananas. Bananas. S-B. I can't spell. Anyway, so we got Beamtown Bullies, green, red, black, and 1 for a 4/4. Vigilance and Haste. It's Haste. Ogre Daredevil, so Ogre Devil Warrior, excuse me. It looks like a mythic. It looks like this is the foil, so it's probably going to be the commander. Target opponent whose turn it is puts target non-legendary creature card from your graveyard onto the battlefield under their control. It gains haste, goad it at the beginning of your next end step, exile it. Very interesting. I like it. Alright, next we have Reign of Riches. 2 red and 3 for an enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, you create 2 treasure tokens. The first spell you cast each turn that mana from a treasure was spent to cast has Cascade. Oh my god. This thing is gonna be bonkers. Yeah, this says 30, 40 bucks all over it. Moving right along. Riveteer's Confluence, green, red, black, and 2. Sorcery, you get to choose the same mode more than once. You get 3 things to do. You can draw a card and lose a life. You can deal 1 damage to each creature and planeswalker you don't control. And you may put a land card from your hand or graveyard onto the battlefield tapped. Very interesting for 5 mana. Seems pretty sweet. I'll have to see if it sees any play though. Alright, next we have Next of Kin, green and 2 for an enchantment, enchant creature. When enchant creature dies, you may put a creature card that you own with lesser mana value from your hand or from the command zone onto the battlefield. If you do, return Next of Kin to the battlefield attached to that creature at the beginning of your next end step. Wow, okay. That's pretty neat. So the creature dies, this goes to the graveyard, triggers, and if it's in play the next turn, this goes on to it, and you get to repeat the process for free. It's like a 3 mana birthing pod. It just keeps going off in reverse. This is amazing. These commander cards are so powerful. Bellowing Mauler. It looks like a black and 4 for a 4/6. At the beginning of your end step, each player loses 4 life unless they sacrifice a non-token creature. Seems pretty strong. Wave of Rats. Black and 3 for a 4/2 with trample. Wow, black trampling card is okay. It is a rat. When Wave of Rats dies, if it was dealt combat damage to a player, this turn, return it to the battlefield under its owner's control. Wow, so this is unblockable. And you can blitz it and get a free card off of it for 5. Ooh, man, this card's good too. All right, next we have Industrial Advancement, red and 3. Enchantment, beginning of your end step, you may sacrifice a creature. If you do, look at the top X cards of your library, where X is that creature's mana value. You may put a creature card from among them onto the battlefield, put the rest on the bottom in a random order. Good God, this is busted. Are all these cards this broken? Have I just not played Commander in a long time, and this is just... Yeah, anyway. Weathered Sentinel. So for 3 colorless, you get 2/5, artifact wall, defender, vigilance, reach, trample, more text. Anyway, the Sentinels can attack players who attacked you during their last turn as though they didn't have defender. Whenever they attack, they get +3/+3, gain indestructible because they didn't have enough keywords already until the end of turn. Jesus. Alright. Next we have Turf War. So for red and 4, you have an enchantment. When it enters the battlefield, for each player, put a contested counter on target land that player controls. Whenever a creature does combat damage to a player, if that player controls 1 or more lands with a contested counter on them, that creature's controller gains control of 1 of those lands of your choice and untaps it. So this has so much shenanigans going on. It's going to be hilarious. Oh my goodness. Next we have Swindler's Scheme. So blue and 2 it looks like. Enchantment. Whenever an opponent casts a spell from their hand, you may reveal the top card of your library. If it shares a card type with that spell, counter that spell, and that opponent may cast the revealed card without paying its mana cost. Okay, hang on. Whenever an opponent casts a spell from their hand, you may reveal the top card of your library. If it shares a card type with that spell, counter that spell, and that opponent may cast the revealed card without paying its mana cost. That is so weird. So it's basically the counter enchantment, except they get to cast the card that's on top instead of the one that they cast. That's so weird. Seems cool though. Lots of shenanigans. All right, first responder, a green and 3 for a 3/3 with Vigi. At the beginning of your end step, you may return another creature you control to your owner's hand, then put a number of +1/+1 counters equal to that creature's power on first responder. Interesting. Good bounce spell. Our next one is a Grim Gorger, green, black, and 2 for a 3/3 with menace. When it attacks, exile up to 1 card. Exile 1 card of each card type from defending player's graveyard. Put a +1/+1 counter on Grim Gorger for each card exiled this way. Wow, that's good. Man. Next we have the Dodgy Jalopy. I love it. Green and 2 for a blank 5. It's got trample. Dodgy Jalopy's power is equal to the highest mana value among creatures you control. Oh my god. Cruise for 3 and has scavenge 3. So exile this card from your graveyard. Put a number of +1/+1 counters equal to this card's power on target creature. It doesn't have any power. I don't get it. Unless it's gonna, unless it keeps the power from whatever's in play when you scavenge, even though it's in the graveyard. Wow, this is a jalopy. Anyway, moving right along. Calderon Guardian, green and 3 for a 4/3, nothing special. When it or another creature you control with mana value 4 or greater dies, create 2 and 1 green and white or green and white citizen tokens. Now, listing it for 3 to create 2/2s when it's done and drawing a card seems pretty bomb. Jeez, that's nice. Alright, Threefold Signal, basically a stoplight. 3 colorless artifact. When it enters the battlefield, you scry 3. Each spell you cast that's exactly 3 colors has replicate. Whoa, 3. What that means is when you cast it, you can copy it each time you pay its replicate cost. Oh my god. That's going to be worth some money. Tenuous truce, white and 2. You have an aura. Enchant opponent. At the beginning of enchanted opponent's end step, you and that player each draw a card. When you attack enchanted opponent or a planeswalker they control, or when they attack you or a planeswalker you control, sacrifice tenuous truce. Very interesting. Bernie Brock's Zoologist, white and 3 for a 3/2 mythic with convoke. Okay, convokes where you tap creatures of the same mana value to cast it. At the beginning of each end step, if you created a token this turn, draw a card. Wow, that's pretty sweet. Next we have Jolene. Jolene, the plundering queen. Anyway, sorry. Green, red, and 2 for a 2/2. Legendary creature, human warrior. Whenever a player attacks one or more of your opponents, that attacking player creates a treasure token. Okay. If you would create one or more treasure tokens, instead create those tokens plus an additional treasure token. Okay. Sacrifice 5 treasures. Put 5 +1/+1 counters on Jolene. Okay. Just treasures for everybody, I guess. So with that said, let's leave it off with old Jolene. Thanks for watching this episode of Commander Leaks for New Capenna. Wow, those cards seem really strong. If you want a commander deck, I'd definitely be buying this thing before it comes out because it's probably gonna go up in price. I just saying. So without further ado, as always, until next time, be kind. This is your captain speaking, and I hope to see you across from the game table.